going to want to be following along with this course from your mobile device. You're not going to get the true experience if you're following along on a computer. You're going to want to make sure that you have the student mobile device, student mobile app, I should say, on your mobile device. And you should also have a mobile browser window up and signed in as yourself into that browser window, because we're going to kind of be bouncing back and forth to those different areas. So a big part of this is to not only show you and give you perspective on what your students see, but also an opportunity for you to have a better idea. So if they run into issues, how you can help to solve those issues, or at least point them in the right direction. So all of you are in the perspective of the students. I got sick of just running through PowerPoints for these things. I said, we got to actually do more test drives with these. So that's what we are going to be doing for the next 2 ETD sessions that we're going to be having. And there's one after the break towards the end of April. We're going to dig into some updates to inking. So if you've been doing that, we're gonna cover that. But enough about that. Make sure you have your mobile devices up and ready to go, and we can get started. So I'm just going to follow along. If you pop into the course on the student app, okay, you can go to the home menu. But I'm going to share my screen quick. I'm just going to share my computer screen. 1 second for that.
That's when you need it, right?
So that I can kind of go over the agenda for today and whatnot. So first things first, I already mentioned some of the objectives, but just to check that box, we're here to broaden your understanding of mobile apps. Obviously, we're going to focus on the Canvas app primarily because that's a big one that your students are using. But we're also going to talk a little bit, considering the time, about OneDrive, OneNote, Outlook, and a little bit about Microsoft Authenticator as well. But the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is the added perspective that you have. And it's not my hope that you totally rework your curriculum, your assignments and things like that, but just to have an idea of, you can not think that it's a good idea that your students are doing course content with mobile, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're going to, okay? Out of convenience, out of, hey, I just got an email or a message on my mobile device and I'm going to take care of it right here from the mobile device, or out of necessity. Okay, so there's a lot of different factors. And we're actually going to talk about student feedback because I did a quick survey on how they're using these devices as well. Maybe you already know that, but we can talk about it together. So why mobile? The biggest thing that you can realize is mobile is your friend. Okay, and mobile is something that you can encourage your students to use to help from a communication perspective. How many times have you been in class and you're like, did you see my message? And they're like, no. And you're like, do you have the mobile app? And they're no. Okay, the mobile app is great because they will get push notifications directly to their device that will tell them a class announcement. Don't forget to bring this. Don't forget to review this. Hey, we're going to be doing this in class. I just thought of this last minute. I need all my students to know. Okay. Email is,
right, Kevin?
What's that?
Notifications, they have to say that they're allowed to.
Yep, and I'm going to go into the settings and the notifications for that as well, so that you can help to guide students with that. The mobile apps, I should say, are both accessible and provide greater equity due to the contrasts and the screen setups and different things like that. Screen readers work on the mobile devices as well. You might see something like Immersive Reader available via the mobile app. So there's a lot of perks with accessibility and equity as well. Okay? And when we think about equity, and I mentioned the point about your students might not have a computer to use. What if they only have a mobile device to use? Well, what are we doing to take that into consideration for the content that we present for them? And last but not least, the flexibility of it. Okay, we want students to be able to communicate. We want students to be able to collaborate. We want students to be able to create and participate in all those other words that end with 8. And the mobile apps just flow right into that. Okay, so making sure that they have what they need wherever. We're talking about storing your devices on a cloud, and no matter what device you're on, you can access it. The mobile device checks that box. So those are 3 pretty compelling reasons right there as to why mobile. So I did a little survey. You might have seen it on the Canvas dashboard. This is from MCC students. This isn't some like worldwide Canvas and structure collection right here, but this is the feedback that we received from our students. And I know you can see it up here. I should tell you, if you go into the mobile app, and we'll back out of here, but if you go into the student app and hit that ETD tile right there, and most of you probably already are, and you hit on the home screen, this is why it would be better for me to share my mobile device screen, and you see the page on student use feedback, that will take you to exactly what you're seeing right here, but you're all smart and probably already realized that. So you can see the different use cases for the mobile app, okay? And this isn't just the mobile app. This is the combination of the mobile app, the student mobile app, and the mobile browser, okay? So you can see what most of our students and how they're using it. And the bottom line, my takeaway from this is they're using it for quite a few different things. Okay, it's not, I mean, we have a couple of the view assignments and the check grades are up there quite a bit, class communication, but you know, everything's kind of neck and neck at that point in terms of what they're using it for. And you might sit and think like, wow, I'm blown away that they are taking quizzes on it or this and that, but it's happening, okay? And so the realization is key. And I also pulled a few of the top quotes. I'll let you read those on your own since all of you do have access to this. But these are just a few of the quotes that I pulled that I thought kind of spoke to and summarized a lot of the other quotes. And so take a peek at those when you get a chance. But I'm going to keep moving on. Another thing that's kind of aside from a lot of these is your ability to use polling. And if you can, you should scan that QR code that I'm sharing right there, and you will be able to submit some feedback. Okay.
Can we scan it with our own?
So you can, that's a good question. So I should have also, I meant to circle back and put the link there too.
I'll see yours and you scan mine.
That's smart, see? Very creative.
Let's see if it works.
It will work.
Except now mine is gone, so I have to figure out how to get back.
You just go back to that window and then you should get it. But polling is a great way to make use of a mobile device as well. And so this is another experience that you get to experience from your mobile device. Now, if I was had actually like completed the whole course, I would have also gone back through and here and put the link to that for those of you that are on mobile, which you're doing. But the nice thing about these polls is not only can you, when you create a form or a poll, grab a QR code like I did here, but you can also drop a poll in a channel meeting now. So I'm here running this meeting. If I open this up, I should be able to go to my polls here, which I already have a pre-existing poll that I created for this, and I can launch this to all of you. Now I know that I've done this in previous sessions, but not everybody was at the previous session. And you can see from here, so the question is, and I don't know that all of you in here are on the meeting, but what is a word that comes to mind when it comes to mobile, students, and learning? And you might say collaboration. And you can quickly enter that word in there. And as others do it as well, okay, we will create a word cloud. And that's just one example of the polling features that are available. This is just low stakes, quick feedback that you can get from your students. So yeah, if you're wondering, we still do have a flashing light in here. It helps with student attentiveness and anger, I'm heard. So anyways, moving along. So you can also launch polls in your Teams channels as well. So I just wanted to add that. And you can also, if you're somebody that shares your slide deck, so if you post your PowerPoint slides to your modules, you can embed those forms or those polls into slides, and students can interact with them as they're clicking through your slides. So very versatile tool, lots of ways that you can do this, but mobile plays in very well with that as well. So why don't you go ahead on your student mobile app and back out to your dashboard. A lot of what I did is on an iOS device. I didn't have time to do a duplicate one for an Android device as well. So I know, like Josiah, I'm sorry, do your best. But the feature quality is pretty much lined up, and I'll point out features here in a second as well. But I just want to take a moment to kind of walk through what you see here on the dashboard on your mobile device. Your course tiles might be a little bit different than what, of course, I'm not sharing my screen, but if you could see my screen, I have all my different tiles arranged like you're used to seeing on your dashboard, but you can change that view. I also have all of my grades showing on each tile. So we noticed that one of the student feedback pieces was they use the Canvas mobile app to check grades. Well, this makes it even easier because if you go to your settings icon in the upper right-hand corner, click on that little settings gear, you can change your view to, well, first of all, you can change it to list, which you can see that just changed how mine appears, okay, from the course card to the list. But you can also toggle over the show grades, which I think is an excellent way for a student to stay up to date on their particular grade for a course. Okay, you probably had students come to you and say, I didn't know I was getting that grade. It was just this a day or two ago or 3 days ago. What changed? Well, this helps them to get a better idea on what or when it changed. So there's not a lot in that settings area. John, I don't think I added you to this course yet. I need to do that. 1 second. While you peruse that area.
It's not, that must be where the grade appears.
The grade thing on mine. I don't have a settings button.
So you have an Android, don't you?
Yeah.
I need to learn more about the Android.
Under the dashboard, I have a settings, but under settings, I don't have.
I think that you still have access to that. I think it just might be in a different spot. There you go, John. Sorry about that. I got you added now.
This
I was
thing,
just thinking that changes the.
that just changes that. I have settings there, but, oh, show grades. I had it on there. Of course, it wasn't in the videos.
So it's under your account settings as a person rather than.
So one thing that I do want to point out that is important because a lot of people love this feature is on your dashboard on your computer, you have the ability to click and drag those tiles around to rearrange them, right? You cannot do that from the Canvas student app, all right? You can, if you see up edit dashboard in the upper right, it's kind of right above the course tile. Edit dashboard, if you click on that, will allow you to, that's like basically your all courses area that you're used to seeing. So if you don't see a course on your dashboard, you can go to that edit dashboard and that will show you all of your available courses and you can favorite them from there if you'd like. But there's no way to hold and rearrange courses on the Canvas student app. Now, if you hop over to the mobile web, you can rearrange those course tiles on your mobile device from the mobile web browser. However, it was kind of a pain when I do it. Like it wants to do you want to save this image if I hold, because you got to click and hold or tap and hold on it for a little bit before you can move it. And at that point, a sub menu pops up and then you realize that you just moved it, but it will jump all the way to the bottom. What I'm saying is, it's not possible from the student app. It is possible from the web, but it's a pain. So if you need to rearrange your tiles, I would use a computer. If you don't have a computer, you can still get it done from the mobile web. So up in the upper left, you see your menu lines, okay? From there, there's some additional settings. You also see access to your Canvas files. You'll see a link to Studio because Studio is integrated within the Canvas mobile app, which is awesome. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you go a little bit further down before we get into the settings, you can actually go to the help menu and that's where you have access to Canvas Tier 1 support. So if a student doesn't know how to do something and we're used to showing them what it looks like on the global navigation on a computer, that green sidebar, okay, this is how they can get support on a mobile device. And they can also chat with Canvas support. So you'll see that if you hit chat with Canvas support, it will take you to that form if you've ever done a chat with Canvas support before to get that party started, okay? So a lot of similar features are there. I mentioned settings, okay? So if we tap on the settings, okay, you can change around a lot of the things. You can change your landing page. So when you open the app, what shows up first, okay? And you can change that to calendar or to do or your notifications or inbox. And speaking of those, if we back all the way out of that menu and you look at the bottom of your screen, you have all those items. I prefer to land on the dashboard, okay, because that's what we're used to probably for Canvas anyways. But if you want that calendar right away, because I'm telling you, some of the students in their feedback said the calendar is a very important piece of what they reference to know what's coming up. Even though you might not use it a lot as an instructor, students are using the calendar area. So something to be aware of. Additionally, we know that the to-do list, the to-do list is a student's lifeline, okay? That to-do list is on the mobile app and it will show what you have coming up, what is to do, all right? So those are things to be aware of. Obviously, notifications are there as well. And then obviously the inbox at the bottom. But I want to really dig in now. So if we go back to the dashboard and let's go to that ETD mobile as a mobility machine tile. And I want to hop into that. Actually, just to back up a little bit though, did you know that there is actually a widget available? And I'm guessing Android has it too. Josiah and Michelle, you can straighten me out on this one. But if you go to your widgets area, this is why I wish I could share my screen. But I can edit that and I can actually add a Canvas widget. Okay. And there's a Canvas student widget that I can add that will show me in that area any announcements that are posted, a quick link to my grades, okay, as a widget. So if you're a widget user, it sounds really kind of like exotic and like crazy, right? Like a widget user. We're not into that. You can do that here on your mobile device. Just another way to quickly get you information from the Canvas student app. So let's go ahead and go into the Canvas student app and go to the course. Now, here's something that is confusing for students, okay? And I've stressed this a lot of times in Canvas Core. We need to simplify our navigation because if we thought it was difficult on the computer, it's even more mind-boggling here. If you scroll through everything that's available, that's your course navigation there, and there's a lot, okay? So if I just take a moment here, all right, I'm gonna streamline that navigation. So I'll go to these course settings quick. I'll go to navigation, and I'm gonna get rid of a ton of that stuff, all right? So give me 20 seconds to get rid of a lot of it and make your life a lot easier.
Incidentally, Kevin, at the beginning of the term, I generally go through and get rid of everything other than a single page that says, I'm not quite ready yet.
Tell me more.
And have that posted so that when we go live, I can still communicate with the students and talk to them that way, but also tell them that, you know.
Don, you didn't join our last OEC meeting, did you?
I didn't.
That's exactly what we kind of talked about, is having a landing page of sorts.
Yep.
So that, and we could even send out a template to all instructors to, when you publish your course, even if it's not ready yet, set this as your home page and it has information related to the course. Excellent. Love it. I said 30 seconds. I think I had a side conversation, so give me an extra 20. I'm basically getting rid of everything that you don't need because I have modules set as the home page. So you don't need quizzes, you don't need assignments, you don't need discussions, because everything I'm going to give to you is brought out from the storage bin that is assignments, quizzes, and all those things, and produced to you on the store shelves, which are the modules. So there we go. So if you go up to the top and you drag that down, you're going to see how much your navigation menu has been simplified. Now when your students roll into your course, they don't see 1,000 different things to tap on. They see just that 4 things, okay? It's easy to overlook the home option right there, which is set as course modules, okay? Because you're probably, at least from my perspective, I'm looking at grades, Office 365 module. So if you don't have modules there because it's set as the home page, you might want to point that out to your students. But in any case, if you tap on home, that's going to take you to your module area. So if you've already been tapping through, you should be at exploring the Canvas mobile app, but we're now going to move on to the Canvas student mobile features comparison. And what I did for this is I embedded, I don't know if you saw my email, Michelle probably didn't.
Wow, give me shit today.
I had to, Michelle, I had to.
That's okay.
Yeah. I got to play the audience. So anyways, I embedded a Canvas guide on the Canvas student mobile features, and it's awesome if you haven't used this, okay? And you can scroll through and you can really easily see all of the different ways that the Canvas mobile apps, Android, iOS, and the web line up with each other. I made it easier for you, and right at the top of the page, I showed you basically the key identifiers of what doesn't line up, okay? Peer reviews, which if Elizabeth was here, she would make a unsettling noise right now. Submit assignments with device scanner, which we're going to talk about, and view what if scores. You can see that's not available on iOS. Okay, but if you ever worried about posting these guides and then not like reframing for the device, you can see that that's a myth. Okay, we busted it. All right. So if we click on next and move to the next item, you're going to see this is a external website that I posted, an external URL, which I know that a lot of you use in the modules, and that's fine. It just doesn't display right here. Okay, you have to hit that open in Safari or open in your browser, and then it will open up for everybody to see that wants to see it. Okay, so it still works. Just understand it's a little clunkier. It's not readily available. Moving on to pages. Okay, so here's a content page. And so I took some time to identify some things that might be important when you're designing a page. Okay, and for the most part, the Canvas app does a pretty good job of resizing it and fitting it to what you need to see, but know that you can't zoom in on images, okay? So you can see that one of the images there is smaller, okay? And I just Google search these images, so anybody in the sciences that's here that questions it, it's not my work. But you notice in the app, you can't zoom in on it, okay? So if they need to be able to see something, you're gonna have to make sure that they are aware that they should be going to the mobile browser for those things. Or you just make sure that you test these things out and view them as a student in the mobile app.
Or you can screenshot and then zoom in there.
Right. So,
Going to the app. You were able to zoom?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I can zoom.
is it an Android thing?
It's an Android thing.
There we go. So we're learning as we go.
I'm like, because I can't, yeah.
But you're also going to notice, students, that you can't move on to the next page unless you do something in this page. So go ahead and try to get to the next page. Whether you go to the module or not, you won't be able to. You have to mark this page as done. So, seriously? Did you mark it as done?
I marked it as done.
You should not be able to.
I can't do it yet.
I can mark it as done.
Unless I'm missing it, I don't know
I
where it
must
is.
have played with it enough.
This
Yeah.
one says I can't go.
Regardless, I just want to point out that this doesn't make students read things, but it is another way to verify, like you went into that page, you saw that page, you checked the mark as
Because I
done.
have a page, the very first thing is answers to everything page, and then read this. And I put in number 14, if you are reading this and you email me with the name Luca in the heading, I'll give you stamp points.
That's another way to do it.
Student in the whole
I
class.
hide things like that and
Yeah.
And that's a strategy.
Yeah.
So a couple other things about page design, other than like image size and things like that. Obviously, take note of the table that's there. The app is going to do a good job of allowing you to see it by scrolling to the right and to the left. Same with the web, so that works pretty well. There is the consideration with a screen reader when it comes to tables, making sure that you have table headers identified and things like that, row headers. But if you scroll down a little bit further, you're going to see those different links there. Most people don't think like, hey, if I don't space out my links enough, is it a big deal? And chances are, if you're good at tapping, you're going to have no problem getting the right link. But you can see the difference between the group of links that are all close together and how much easier and confident you are in tapping the links that are down below. So, like I said, not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of as you're working in your mobile app or the mobile app. Okay, now I tried to go to the blank page. I obviously didn't mark that as done, so I wasn't able to get to it. But the next page will actually allow you, everybody can get to that, right?
Nope, I'm locked out of everything after that.
Then locked.
Where did the mark is done go? My mark is done option is not there anymore.
Not for the page.
Where was yours on your Android? Did you click?
Well, that's good. It worked.
It worked for Androids.
Well, I just got it on the iOS, so I was able to go to the next page. Here, I went to the browser and was able to.
Oh, I want to leave my app.
So here's the deal though too. So when you go to the next page on the app, you are going to notice that it's blank and you're like, nothing's loading, Kevin. Well, that's because it is a blank page. I set this page up to allow anybody to edit it. So if you go to the browser window and you see blank, if you see blank page, okay, you're going to also see a little pencil icon in the upper right in the browser on the app. the browser app. Okay, that means that you can edit this page. So students can contribute to your pages and they can do it from a mobile device, but I currently am not seeing my ability to do it from the mobile app. Maybe Android is different. And I don't remember seeing that I didn't have the ability in the feature lineup. So something to be aware of there. Okay, now I don't actually, you have to, I have it set that you have to participate or contribute to the page to move on to the next. I'm going to change that quick because we're kind of short on time a little bit and I want to make sure we cover all this stuff. So to edit those, you just go to your module settings for that particular module. And I'm going to remove both of those requirements and update it. So now you should be able to move freely through the module again. And if you're in the student app, you might have to refresh that module area and you should be able to get to it. As far as discussions go, okay, a few things with discussions. There is a difference between reply sorting, mobile versus web. And if you see that image, actually the two images there, you can see the difference, okay? There's actually a sort option on the mobile browser, which allows you to sort your replies by newest or oldest and flip them around. In the Canvas student app, you can't do that. Another hang up, a lot of you like to have students record studio videos and post those as discussion replies to share things in a different way. Just be aware that some students get confused because they'll actually reply on the video, on the studio part of the video, and not reply in the discussion. And if you go to that, if you actually go and look at that page, you can see, if you scroll down to the image there, there's a little X'd out thing there, okay? And you can see where that would be a little confusing. Add your comment, well, that's easy enough, whereas the reply for the discussion is just a little reply there. Okay, and if you think that that's easy to get confused on a computer screen, your mobile screen is even more condensed, and at any given time, they might only see that comment here and think that that's what they need to comment on. My screen share just keeps getting booted. There we go. Just a couple other items related to discussions. The Studio app in web versus mobile. You're not going to see a studio reply option in the student app as a discussion. Okay, so yeah, they can participate in discussions. So you can actually go to your discussion, it's the next item, and you can see that you can hit reply and you can actually start adding your message there, your reply. But if you see your rich content editor here is slimmed down, you don't have the ability to add a studio video. You can add a video, I can go to the camera and add a video, but I can't access the studio video. So a way to get around that is to reply to a discussion on a mobile via the web app and not the student app. Okay, does that make sense? And you can see the GIF that I posted there actually does have the ability to embed a studio reply in a discussion post. You'll also notice if you want to put, when it comes to a rich content editor, let me get my share, keeps booting me from sharing. If you want to put a video in your instructions in your rich content editor, you're going to see it displays different. Okay, obviously they can get access, but it's another tap. The studio is that launch external tool, whereas a video can be played right from that window right there. So it's really up to you. I encourage you to still use Studio just because it takes up less course storage and we have limited course storage, whereas Studio is pretty much unlimited. It's just that they're going to have to tap on the box that says launch external tool. Yes, sir. There's pizza. So I also set up a discussion here. I see Don took part in the discussion. If you want to take part in it, great. And you can always come back later on when you have more time on your mobile device and reply to a discussion and just see what that looks like from the student perspective. But we're not going to take the time here because I only set this up for an hour and not 2. Quizzes. If you offer quizzes on a mobile device, there's not a lot of things I'm going to add here. Just know that all of the question types, new quizzes and classic quizzes, work on a mobile browser and also on the mobile app. So that's good. All right. I did post a quiz example if you want to do that quick. It's just a quick 3-question one. Actually, I posted an example of a new quiz and a classic quiz. So I encourage you to try that. One of the questions is a hotspot question. There's also a question that is categorization, where you can line up what breeds are dogs and what breeds are cats. And I also added some distractors as well to try and confuse you. So if you get stumped, let me know and I'll get you some pizza. Okay. All right, cruise along. Any questions? Okay. Yeah, make sure you take those quizzes. When it comes to assignment, there's not a lot of considerations, just 2 quick questions that we get. Are the requirements for the assignment supported on a mobile device? And that's something that you should ask yourself as well. So if you have, hey, go to this site or go to this tool or go to this resource, can I get to it from a mobile device? Okay. And if you haven't tested it, you should. Okay. Because that's going to save you a lot of headache, and obviously your students a lot of headache as well. It's a real thing. Another question is, can the assignment be adaptable to mobile? So if it's not, is it something that you could adapt to mobile? So those are 2 important questions. So maybe something like less making about text input and more about just any kind of input possible, video, audio, things like that. And I know that in some cases it doesn't work very well. Okay, but it's just the thought that counts in these situations. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of students that scan things, whether it be just taking a picture of something, whether it be a paper, something they wrote out, something they created. Okay, there's a scanner option in both the Canvas mobile app, the student app, and also obviously in the web browser, but also in OneDrive as well. And we'll talk about OneDrive here in a second. There's also OneDrive integration, so definitely encourage OneDrive. And here's something that I really want to point out is and check out these images on the screen here, because these are important. So if they're using the web browser, the mobile web browser, just like they're used to seeing on a computer, they're going to be able to hit more and get to their Office 365 or their OneDrive files right from that mobile device. Okay, and that's from the web. They can still do it from the mobile app as well, the Canvas mobile app, but they're going to have to do it a little bit different in that they're going to have to open up OneDrive, tap on the file menus, the menu dots for the file, and open in another app. At that point, and you can try this if you'd like, go into OneDrive, find a file, tap on the menu dots, hit open another app, and you'll see Canvas Student as an option. When that Canvas Student portal or whatever opens up, it's going to say, which class are you submitting this for? You'll choose your class. It's going to say, what assignment are you submitting this for? It'll then filter your assignment, and you'll be able to submit it right from there. So you can submit Canvas files via the Canvas web app, or this is for mobile on the OneDrive mobile app via the Canvas integration. So I don't tell you all these things right now so that you'll just like memorize them and have them hardwired in your brain, okay? But if after this session you're like, hey, Kevin, I know you said something about that. I love it to get a conversation going, okay? And so those are some additional ways. And if nothing else, your student might bring this to your attention in class and you don't remember, you can come to me for that, all right? Or watch this recording. Let's see here. So I got an assignment here as well. You can go back and do this on your own if you want to test drive this experience. So this is kind of the cool thing about this is all of you still have and will still have access to this course. And we might not have time right now, but if you are able to pop back and circle back to this, and maybe you do this assignment, it's a really simple assignment. You got to take like a selfie and submit 3 different things. I'm not making your badge required. This is not a requirement for you to get your badge for this session. Just your attendance here gets you your badge, virtual as well. And that's for anybody that watches the recording also. But this is here for you, and I encourage you to take part in this. I also posted a studio assignment as well, because Studio is available in both the web browser, the mobile web browser, and the mobile student app. I pointed it out. It's in the menu lines in the upper left-hand corner. You can go into that studio area. Actually, what I recommend that you do is just use your camera, your video camera on your phone, record your video. Okay, whether it's about you or a screen recording, it'll save to your photos. You can then go into your studio area of this app. So go to those menu lines, hamburger, whatever you want to call it, and it'll take you to your studio area right there. And from there, you can click on the vertical menu dots this time, and you'll see upload from device, and that will give you access to either taking the video right from there. I like to use my camera before I get into it so that I can, work on it and get it right. But I guess either way works. And then you can upload from your device, your photo library, boom, you can find all of your videos right there, okay? They're all available. You tap on the one you want, it'll upload it to Studio. And even if you don't turn in right from there, it'll put it to your Studio area. And then you can go into your course, click on your Studio area right here, and you can submit it from a computer if you choose to do it that way. So the mobile option is a great way to record studio videos and get them in your studio area and then access them later from your studio area. So any questions on that one? Cool. Chugging along. Now I got to get back to where we were in the course.
Right, but I don't know how to do it.
So the last few things that I want to talk about just briefly deal with the Teams app. If you haven't encouraged your students to communicate via Teams, I did in my GNST class, and I have students sending me chat messages all the time, rather than having to go through the steps of going into the email, finding the person they're trying to send it to, getting their email address in, putting a subject in, and sending the email. I know it's not an incredibly difficult task, but it's so much easier if you're using the Teams app to just pop into a Teams chat and ask a question. It's a more laid back type of student type of interaction. I know that maybe not all communication should go that way, and they should learn to communicate via email. But if they're just asking a question quick, let's make it as easy as possible. If your students, maybe you go into class and you say, because we brag about these student spaces, right? We love them. Students are using them like crazy. But have you ever asked your class if they know how to share content on a device with one of the screens in the student spaces? Okay, ask that, okay? And if they say no way or look at you with a blank stare, they can very easily do that from their Teams mobile app, okay? Down at the bottom, and I know that if you're virtual, you can't see it, but down at the bottom in your app, if you go to more, you will see a button or a tile for casting. And when you tap on that, it will bring up all of the different hubs that are within range. And they just need to look at the one that in the room they're at, S103MTR in this case, and that will start sharing the content on either their mobile app, or also if they just go to their Teams app and click on these menu dots in the upper right here, you'll see cast from there as well, and it'll start searching. So they can share from a laptop, from a mobile device. They cannot share from the web yet, so they do need to have either the mobile app or the desktop app. But that is a great tool that you can share with your students when it comes to really making use of those student spaces. Obviously, in Teams, you also have access to all of your OneDrive files from the mobile app as well. So if they don't want the OneDrive app, no big deal. They can get to all their files from the Teams app and their OneDrive files right from there. The Outlook mobile app. A couple things I want to point out about that. And I guess we've kind of shifted gears from student focus to like everybody. You get this, I don't know why this sharing keeps stopping. But I love the ability to react to emails. Okay, and I know I've seen Heather do it before and others. But if you are in an email, you'll see a little smiley face. Okay, you can actually react to emails. And, on one hand, it's obviously like a thumbs up, like, great, I got it. But it's also, I like to have reactions when I share things just to make sure that people like it or don't like it or whatever. And that's an easy way to do it without replying. What's up, Sarah? In addition, some of you have heard our IT department talk to you about reporting phishing or suspicious emails, and most of you have done a really good job with that, but you can report them right from the mobile app as well. So if you're in an email and there's some menu dots in there, you tap on those and you will see the report as a phishing attempt. You'll also see, for those of you GIF lovers out there, that Giphy is in there and you can quickly add GIFs as a reply. So those are some perks right there to using the Outlook app on your mobile device. I mentioned a perk with submitting assignments from the OneDrive mobile app, but also that scanner tool is phenomenal. I have to turn in the receipt for this pizza, and I will be using OneDrive instead of actually handing in a physical paper receipt. I will just grab a picture of that from my OneDrive app using this camera icon right here that will allow me to quickly and easily scan that receipt. Okay. Obviously, that can be done for work that's turned in, or hey, take a picture of that cow over there and point to this particular part. So you get your camera up, you get your finger up, and you point at that part, and hopefully you get full credit, right? So that's just one example right there. But it's very easily for you also to identify what files you're sharing with people, and maybe you don't want someone to have access to a file anymore. You can tap on the menu dots for that file, and you can tap on details, and that will show you who you're sharing it with. And if you need to add people or remove sharing privileges, you can do that right from there. Last item, and this is the one I want to close on. We had a session on OneDrive, or excuse me, OneNote back in the fall. I talked to you about the mobile offerings. My students have been using quite a few students in my GNST class have been using the OneDrive or the OneNote app to take notes in class, because instead of trying to write things down or type things, if they just want to take a picture of a slide for reference, and you're like, well, I share my slides. Maybe they just want to weave it in with some other notes and ideas. The OneNote app works perfect for that. They can also pull the text off an image that they take. So you see my example on the screen there. You'll see I took a picture of a slide at a conference I was at, but to the right of that, I pulled all the text off what was on that slide, and I can then go through and remove things that I don't need or don't want and highlight stuff. I could also just ink over that image if I wanted to. So it makes note-taking very versatile, easy to share. Yes.
I have an outline that I put in Word of my PowerPoint slides, because I used to print out 3 per page and take notes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in Word, so I tell them, download it and take notes, because now all the words from the PowerPoint are on that. Could they put it into OneNote
I don't see why not. So,
and go from there?
so there's a couple ways that they could do that. Yeah, you could share that page with them. You could share that image with them. You could blueprint it into the course. You could also,
Because the Word document I put in Canvas.
we could also go the class, you could also go the class notebook route with your course, and we can talk about that sometime too. And that allows you to actually like drop pages into their OneNotes if they're using that. So lots of options with that. So that is it. I also want to add, when it comes to the Microsoft Authenticator app, because we did get some feedback on that from students and how it can be a little frustrating. I know that for the most part, students are working with it just fine. It is an extra step, but did you hear what happened with Lansing Community College recently? Okay.
Well, I know they were closed for 2 days.
So if you think it's frustrating to have a power outage for a week, imagine a power outage that also results in lost data, fines, things like that. And I'm sure David could share more, but.
They get it back?
They're not fully functional.
Still.
They're without their LMS. I don't know if they have access to their email yet again. They were not running anything besides face-to-face courses until further notice.
Yep.
Submissions for like submitting your assignments like in Canvas, their LMS, they can't submit anything currently.
And what caused this?
They had a cyber attack.
They haven't
given details of what exactly happened. But they did say that there was no personal information stolen. So it could be the case that they found them in stuff, like found attackers or threat actors in different systems, and they can't fully be confident that they've gotten them out. So that may be why they're not allowing anyone access to them, but they had FBI, state, everything shut down.
And guess what? Everyone had to change their password. For the end user, yeah. So that being said, we are marching towards 16-character passwords. Using the Microsoft Authenticator app, if you're not using that as your default method or your primary authentication method, will allow you to do passwordless entry. So if you're interested in that, come see us. And encourage your students as well. So that's all that I have as far as this session. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, this is to kind of drive conversation or questions, and maybe just to help your students help themselves, and you can help them as well. So thank you for hanging out with me today, and there is still some pizza left if you would like to partake.
Thank you.
Let me stop this recording quick.